Netflix and chill after the episode, Matt? Whoa, this could have been an intro to the episode. Bleep that, Pat, and we'll use all that. Beetlejuice.
All right.
Yeah,
we'll start over.
I'm already going, Matt.
All
right. No, I'm not holding on, Matt. Nice mug. You're listening to The Mink and the Monk. My name is Brad Monkell.
My name is Matt Fink.
Yes, that is us. We're back.
That is us. That's a quite lovely mug you have there, too.
I know, thank you. It's a very beautiful mug with a very beautiful Mink guitarist on it.
There it is. That's available at MatthewFink.com, FatMink.com, or MinkandtheMonk.com. We don't have any Mink and the Monk merch yet, but we do have some Mink on its own, holding some guitar. Yes. This, however, my wife got me for Christmas, and that's my beautiful kitty cat in a very regal.
That's the word I was going to use.
Regal?
Yeah.
Yeah, she looks pretty dope. She just looks like she's about to murder a chipmunk.
Yeah, you have too many pictures of your cat around.
It's not your business.
You got to hang them up over here at some point, though, so everyone can see them. I love what you're doing with the art over here.
I changed it up a little week. That's my glorious father.
Looks so cool.
Ronnie Fink in full saxophone mode. He's playing at a gig. I love that. And the wonderful Michael Weisbrod, who passed away a few years ago, took that on a gig, and it's one of my favorite photos of my father. This is my mom. No, but actually my mother painted that about my father. So that's like I wanted to put the two of them up. So yeah, my mom painted that years ago, and I loved it. And then she sent it to me. Oh no, she brought it with her when she came to visit, and she gave it to me. So I had it framed.
It's beautiful. So 2 photos of your dad and no pictures of my dad on your wall?
The ones that I have of your dad, I can't. I would have to pixelate parts of them, but I have some nice shots.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
nice. Next time we redecorate. It's funny that we actually bring up my dad. He saw one of the clips of that, like the little short clips we made of you making fun of me, and he's like, "Why does he say those things about you?" Like he thought, like he was actually worried that I
don't blame him
that you were being mean to me.
Am I? I mean,
I'm already playing with the mic stand again.
Yeah, you were
just making fun of me for that.
I was.
So, you are kind of mean. It gets really personal, Matt.
Yeah, it's how I like to roll. I mean, tell your dad if he has a problem, you can give me a call.
Yep. All right, man. You'll be hearing from him. He barely knows how to work a phone, but you'll be hearing from him.
No, but I wouldn't say any of those things if I meant them. You know what I mean? Like, so.
Oh, good. So you save the good stuff for behind my back.
Yeah. Now that stuff your dad would probably be upset about, but with this stuff, I hope he realizes we're just hanging out.
Yeah.
And some of the things you've called me, we can't say.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And you've legit
just like 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, you've said them to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. If
do you get it now, Dad?
If my dad heard those, he would be upset too. Yeah. So.
Okay, well, Matt, I'm going to derail this beautiful conversation just to remind everyone, please like and subscribe.
That's right.
We appreciate all the support. We've been having a great time. We just had a great interview come out recently with the great drummer Mike Clark, one of my favorite drummers of all time.
Same.
We got an episode coming out, I guess later today, that we're recording this with our amazing producer, Pat Flores. And just keep an eye out for more great stuff. Like and subscribe, comment.
Yeah, also
save, review.
Yeah, please like. If you do like it, please give us a like and subscribe. It helps with the algorithm, gets us into other people's purview.
Yeah, I hate people asking for that stuff in videos, but this is hard and it helps. So, all right, now I'm done complaining. Matt, how was your Hanukkah and everything?
Everything was good. Yeah, I had a lovely Christmas break, and it's been nice to just relax and actually just practice some guitar and have some downtime, not driving anywhere, and enjoying the peace and quiet of the country air.
Sounds incredibly relaxing.
How about you?
I had like 3 different COVID scares.
For yourself personally? You mean
just like someone I knew who I'd been in contact with get COVID, so I was like, do I have it? But I was good. Family stuff was cool.
Good. Yeah, family's good.
Christmas. Yeah. That was all fun. It's my birthday the day after Christmas.
Right. I wished you a happy birthday.
You did. Thank you.
And I did you a great present. I subscribed to the Mink and the Monk podcast. And
yeah, that meant a lot.
Yeah, I did. And I let you know about it. I wrote it on your page. You're welcome.
Well, my girlfriend got me tickets. She got them a while back, but it was an early birthday present to go see Dave Attell at Caroline's in the city. So we had a great trip down to the city.
Oh, it was, you already went?
Yeah.
Wow.
So and somehow that wasn't one of our potential COVID exposures, was going down
New York Comedy Club where you're practically sitting in everybody's lap.
Yeah, that we did that. We went and saw a show at Mesro, John Albaz Quartet, and it was a lovely weekend. Somehow that wasn't my COVID paranoia. It was when I got home. It was these people.
It only takes one. I mean, that's really all there is to it. Yeah, I'm not. I don't have scares. I just I feel like I did everything I can do to that, the vaccine. I'm triple vaxxed, and I wear a mask because you have to, and I do not give it any more thought than that anymore. I'm not saying that as a judgment to anybody who does. I'm just exhausted from doing it.
You have the booster though. I need the booster still.
Oh yeah. It's pretty easily available. In fact, my nephew came and visited 2 weeks ago, and we literally went down to the pharmacy and just walked in, and he got it. If we could go there after this podcast, if you wanted to get it.
Cool.
Yeah, it was just to walk in and easy peasy.
Cool.
Lemon squeezy.
Getting boosted. Get to do that. But yeah, Dave Attell show was awesome.
That's great. I love Attell.
He's probably my second or third favorite ever. He's so amazing.
He is. And then I listened to Skanks for the Memories again, because you told me to.
I've listened to that album so many times.
That's a great. And I told you I saw him. He opened for Chris Rock 4 or 5 years ago, and that was my first time seeing him live. And he's incredible live. I don't know how he does what he does. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I used to love what was the drinking show on Comedy Central he used to do.
What's it called?
He would just go to bars and drink and hang out.
I have a T-shirt of it, I think.
Yeah.
I always forget. All right. Whatever.
It's okay. But but he's amazing. And I told you about when I saw that show, what really amazed me, just how deep rock is, was when Chris came out, Dave Attell sat right on the stairs coming into the arena, the theater up, the Palace in Albany. Yeah. And the backstage area has this set of stairs that comes out and down into the to the floor seating. And he sat on that stairs and watched the whole set. And I always love that kind of thing, because he's on the road. He hears it, and you just know that because he's for real, wants to hear what Rock's going to do, and that's just shows you the depth of someone like Chris Rock too. Just the fact that you're on the road and you're checking him out every night. But he's great live. I'm glad you got to see him in that intimate. How many people are in there?
I don't know, at least dozens, if not 100. It's a pretty big room.
That's awesome, though.
Oh yeah,
I saw him. It was 2,100 people. When you know what I mean? You get to see him in that environment. It's amazing, and you get COVID real quick.
Oh yeah, real quick. I mean, Dave's not, but I doubt anything survives in Dave's toxic. He looks toxic. He kind of looks like a goblin these days.
He looks like he just has tar running through his bloodstream. Yeah, he's and I think he's absolutely brilliant. So I just say that I've seen what he does to his body.
I think he's going to be offended that you said that about him.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
Now we're not going to have him on the show. Great, Matt.
Great
PR.
I tried my best, yeah.
Now we're not going to have the Kardashians on the show if you keep speaking so recklessly.
Yeah. I was going to say that for Christmas, my wife got me Cat Williams tickets.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Cat's coming to Albany. It's Albany. Yeah, he's coming I think it's at the Pepsi, the Times Union in May. So that's pretty. She got me a pair. So, I mean, I certainly will not be asking you, but I'm somebody that I dig probably will ask to go with me.
Cool. That sounds like a nice time for you and that other person.
It's going to be great. I can't wait. I'll tell you about it.
Can we take a little break quick?
But yes, so it sounds like comedy is abound for Christmas presents.
I'm trying to see more stuff this year. I mean, I saw more shows than any year this past year, and I'm trying to just go see more and more because I love it.
Yeah, I do too. I haven't been to any smaller shows. The last show we were at, comedy was, I think it was. I'm trying to think. Yeah, it was probably a year ago. We saw Sebastian Maniscalco. Was every once in a while these great headliners come to Poughkeepsie. I don't know why. But have you ever been there? That arena is. I forget what it's called, but it's not like I've seen a lot of people there. Like I saw Louis C.K. there, and Louis C.K. literally comes out and he looks around and goes, "What a shithole." Like it's not a great, I mean, I'd shout out if they want to sponsor us, but and then I saw Kevin Hart there, and he comes out and he says, before you start to worry that there's a problem in my career, I come here because I'm loyal to fans, and Poughkeepsie's always been great to me, but it's not like I have a heroin problem, or like he just was like, so that's that, it's there. But so many headliners really come through there, and it's great because it probably is like 3,000 people. It's not mass. I don't really enjoy shows at bigger arenas for just for comedy. I don't know, the intimacy. I like to be able to like feel like I don't want to go to a show at the Garden.
Like I want to at some point, but I prefer the smaller, intimate shows.
Yeah, but for a guy like Kevin Hart, I mean, you're lucky if you get to see him for 3,000 people. Yeah. Because what did he do? Didn't he set a new record for, like he was,
I don't know.
He did that big theater in England, it seats like tens of thousands of people. That his last show was like for a massive arena. I think 70,000 people or something. God. Yeah. So I mean, at that point, you have to be a certain style, I guess, to pull that off. But I prefer, 70 people, like you were saying. That's a different experience altogether. Yeah. And absolutely. Didn't you see the last show you said you went to where he was like, wasn't it Dave Attell that you saw up?
I saw him at the Funny Bone. That was like,
I mean, that was very intimate. Like he picked on you a little bit, right?
Well, yeah. Me and my girlfriend were sitting in the front, and he's like directly in front. It was like our third date, and he said we looked like we ran a heavy metal church together.
Awesome.
And then we had our first kiss out in the parking lot. So Dave Attell is like our comedian. He's so hot.
Yeah, if that doesn't put you in the mood, I really don't know what will.
Oh, Dave.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, comedy stuff's going good.
How is your? So you were saying you actually have a paid set coming up?
Oh yeah, I have my first actual gig. I've probably done 70 something or like 80 open mic / other little things, and I finally have my first paid gig as a comic. So look out, Kevin Hart.
Congratulations. Hey man, that's where he started.
Yeah, no, I mean, it'll be cool. It's
congratulations, very cool.
Yeah, so if you want to come get COVID in Albany on Saturday.
I do want to get, I mean, that was on my list, you know, so I mean, when I did get COVID, it was in New York. It was in the city, I think. But now I'd like to check it out in a different zip code.
Yeah, COVID's getting really hip.
You know, it might bring Albany back. Yeah.
Yeah. All these white girls are gentrifying COVID now. It's it's expensive. It's expensive now.
Yeah. You know, let's see second time around. You know, I mean, it didn't kill me the first time. Let's see what happens. I don't remember. Did you say you had gotten it?
I don't think I've gotten it, but maybe, but I don't think I've gotten it somehow up to this point.
Well, that's good. Cool.
Yeah. So that's going well.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But
so the comedy's going good?
Comedy's going good. Good. Music's good, but it's slow. It's slow right now with COVID.
Stuff's canceling again.
Yep.
That's unfortunate.
We're back to it.
Yeah, we just saw Pat Flores was saying that they just canceled their gig that was supposed to happen this week. So in the Bad Mothers. So yeah, it's you see gig after gig getting canceled now.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I had one canceled in December. Then I have my residency in Albany that I have every other week was put on hold. So otherwise, nothing getting cut, but not a lot of new stuff.
Yeah,
I got some like musical theater stuff rolling in, but otherwise, nothing new.
I got one at the Falcon coming up in February. We'll see how that goes. They just canceled like the whole week there. Like they had some New Year's stuff and a bunch of other things, and it all got canceled. Everybody's using the same phrase, which is from an abundance of, what do they say? In an abundance of caution. Yeah, we're canceling. I know it's a funny phrase to me, but you see everybody using it.
It is a funny word.
I mean, just in an abundance of caution. I mean, as if caution, how redundant do you have to be? Like, whatever, I get it. Yeah, you're showing care.
You're so insensitive to the struggles of small business, man.
No, I don't have an answer for any of this. I just as tired as the next person.
You think abundance is a funny word?
No, in an abundance of caution.
Okay.
It's like saying someone has bright red hair.
Who would you say that about?
Nobody in particular. I'm just saying it's bright all on its. You don't need to say bright. It's red. It's shining. It's glowing.
Oh,
that's all I'm saying, Brad.
Mm.
Yeah, your dad's gonna be upset at me.
We talk more shit about me.
Anyway, yeah. So yeah, I'm sorry your gigs are drying up.
I'm fine.
Okay,
I'm cool. I think it's been good lately though. But yeah, man, it's. I feel weird. I feel like out of the pocket for thinking about like my radio stuff and this podcast stuff. Like I was thinking about like what are we gonna talk about? And I was like,
I was thinking that too.
My brain just feels like a little dried up almost. Like I can't touch on as much stuff. But we were talking about some cool stuff before about like music school and professionalism and
yeah. I think about things as I'm driving, things that annoy me and things that are acceptable and like I kind of think about bigger picture things, you know. But when it comes to being a musician and what, like I think about being a musician and what it takes, and when I see a lot of people, because I'm an educator, so I see a lot of people come through, and I think there is a conversation to be had about just how serious a commitment it is to commodify one's art form or creative outlet, and that's how you have to look at if you're seriously contemplating being a professional musician. And I don't know if there's another way to look at it. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but
I feel like it applies. I mean, we talk about it from music, but it really applies to any art. I mean, certainly, you know, music's more academic than comedy or something, where you have all these options for how you can go about pursuing it. But I definitely think, you know, I'm happy with my music school experience, but there is a lot of weight to it that I didn't realize going into it that I would have looked at differently. Like I don't know that I necessarily would have gone to college knowing what I know now, but I still got a lot out of it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, what do you feel like you see a lot of students doing now?
I don't want to say a lot. I just have, over the years of doing this, I've had, at this point, I've had like probably, as far as private students are concerned, I mean, hundreds, if not thousands. I really don't know anymore. But in academic, I've been in academia for like better part of 15 years. So I've had thousands of students come through that way as well. And there's certain things you can see where you see people and you're like, yeah, that person is absolutely doing exactly what they should be doing. They're finding their way to get to what it is that their vision of what they want to do, and they work towards that. And then I also see, I don't understand when I see people who just seem lackadaisical in their commitment. And like you can be bored for free. You don't have to pay thousands of dollars to be disengaged. You can seriously just do that right from the comfort and confines of your own home. You know, so I'm always very concerned. I feel like I feel kind of responsible to let you know that, like, if you're not going to work towards whatever it is you're trying to do, and it really doesn't matter what it is your vision is, as long as you have something that you're striving for. But if you don't have that, you're in for a really long, cold, hard experience. for lack of a better word. There's nothing waiting for you if you're not committed to creating. You have to create the desire for what it is that you're doing, meaning you have to create the audience. You have to, you have to put some kind of, for lack of a better word, product. I hate to use that word just because I don't want it to sound like you're in an advertising exec, which is, there's nothing wrong with what I'm saying. But as a musician, you have to create demand for what it is, whatever it is that you're doing. And if you're just kind of not committed to that, working towards that with your waking moments, it's going to be a rough ride.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I had direction in what I was doing, but I still struggled with all that. Well,
that's kind of what I'm saying. You struggle when you are committed.
Yeah.
If you're not committed, your whole life becomes it's just hard. It's impossible.
Well, yeah, I definitely went to school with a lot of people who were, they kind of expected to get everything that they were purported to get from music school out of like osmosis, rather than Is
that an instructor there? Is it
osmosis? Yeah,
osmosis. Yeah, Oswald Moses. Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
I feel like I didn't need to go to music school, but music school was a great tool for me to teach myself things. But there are other people who don't really approach it like teaching themselves. They expect to just be handed it, but it really, I feel like I only got what I got out of the school because of the drive I felt towards certain subjects that I was being taught, and because I was involved in the local music scene around the school. I
was going to say the campus is the scene, so you have to participate in the scene, and through osmosis. I think what you're saying is when you're constantly playing with people, you're constantly taking in and learn, and that's everything. Playing is, if you're in music school, you have to play. So yeah, that is that what you're saying as far as hanging out and being on a scene and playing gigs, or just getting together and playing?
Well, you got to find something to get better at. Whether it's playing, if you want to be a A&R person, start working with bands and learning new things, and find like a good mentor. Because like if I could do it over, what I would probably do instead of go to college is just take private lessons with multiple teachers at once. So I'd have my bass teacher, and then maybe I'd have a teacher I talk about improv theory with, and maybe I'd have a teacher to do ear training with, and I would.
Can you get a federal student loan to support that?
No,
that's the problem.
But it would cost way less, so I probably wouldn't need one.
It's true.
College is overpriced. I think it's kind of ridiculous. I think you can get good things out of it, but you really have to know what you're getting into. Like you can't just show up and wait for something to happen.
No, and also I'm not saying that when you're 18 or 17, whatever, that you know exactly what it is that you're going to do and what it's going to look like, and now you just work towards it. There is no, I don't know of any. In my own experience, I'll just speak. There was never a point A to B as a direct line. I was always interested. I always was playing guitar, and I gravitated towards, I would look for people that I liked the way they played, and I would study with them. Or I was lucky enough to be able to learn from people I was doing gigs with. Like when I first moved to New York, I did a lot of non-paying gigs with great musicians that just knew I was hungry to learn and wanted to be part of. So I would do all kinds of gigs. I also would do gigs that paid like, might as well have been nothing, but I mean, in one gig I used to do weekly was for $10 and a sandwich. I quit that gig when, due to a Subway shut down, we were getting to the gig and we started 15 minutes late. We were playing from 9 to 11, and we started at 9:15 and ended at 11 because the place closed at 11. And he paid me. It was supposed to be $20, $10 for the duo, $10 each, and he gave me $17.50, and I was like, "What?" As if the money was why we were doing it, right? And he's like, "Well, you started late," and I was like, "Okay, you can get yourself another duo," and that was the last time. But I just thought it was funny that like that was his Like we were late. I did that gig for like 2 years, and it was just this last night that we did the gig was we got stuck on a train that shut down. We were stuck underground, and that's what happens sometimes for whatever reasons. And we started not an hour late, 15 minutes, but he docked us $2.50.
Oh my God.
It's hard out there. It's rough out there. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like doing those kind of gigs, there's people who
I did them to learn tunes.
Yeah, well,
that's why I did it. Just to not to learn them on the gig, but to I wanted to learn tunes. I wanted to know more tunes. So the best motivation for me was having the pressure of a gig. And then I would pick a couple tunes a week or whatever it was that I was working on. And I would maybe, if I had a lesson that week, I would bring that tune to the lesson and play it. Like my lessons I used to study with Eddie Deal, the great guitarist. He just passed away, and I think it was 2016. But the lesson was really a 2 or 3 hour hang, and we'd play tunes. Then we'd take a break and go out to eat, like locally. He lived in Poughkeepsie. And then we'd go back and play some more. And that's what it was. And it was through the act of playing, because I just loved playing. And he didn't discuss things in terms of, he didn't approach music by like talking about theory or talking about chord scale relationships. We would pick a tune, and the tune would be the lesson. You'd work on the tune, and whatever you were blowing in the tune that he played great, I'd record every lesson, and I would listen back to it and kind of pick apart some of the things he's doing. And after just time, through osmosis of listening to him play and us playing together, and his support of just us letting me solo play all the wrong notes there were, that's what helped me get better. So like I said, it's not a straight line. It wasn't a straight line for me, but I gravitated towards things that I loved to do. And that's what I'm saying about if you're not sure what you want to do, or if you don't have a vision, if you don't have a guiding force of love of what it is you're trying to do, if you're just kind of half-hearted about it, you should never, ever go into the creative arts field with that kind of attitude, I guess is what I'm saying, because you will never, I don't see how it's possible to sustain yourself unless your plan is to get rich somehow. That's a great plan. It's at that point the work has to sustain you through the times when there's not a lot of ability to eat coming in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you got to do your time in the trenches. Like I started gigging just before college, and like some freebie gigs, just a lot of like cheap like High School Musical theater type stuff, or
that's great experience.
Going to jam sessions. Well, and I was doing that, like I said, like just before college.
Yep.
And there were a lot of people in college with me the whole time who wanted to gig more and would ask me about it, but it's like they're not even on going out to other people's shows, supporting other musicians, learning
it's hard too.
Those tunes. Like I had an old good friend of mine who I lived with for a bit, who he was a drummer, and he wanted to play on. He told me, like, next time you're booking this one gig that I had been doing, like, oh, let me know, I could really use the bread. That's not how you get a gig, dude. That's like, no. I'm not just going to give you my gig because you asked. Like, we're friends, but I know so many drummers. Sure. I have this list of priority. Gig to gig, I have a different list of priority of who I think would sound right for it, who is easy to play with, and all these things.
And as a practicing musician, you can only go about working on your craft and try to get heard by these other people who are, to try to put out there what it is you're doing, and you make it onto a list of like, I know that this guy's the right person for this gig, and that kind of thing. And that's how that whole idea of I really could use the bread is probably that's not a motivating factor for you booking somebody, I would think.
Yeah. And it was just a weird comment. And I know he texted me that, and I left him on red. I didn't answer because it was almost a little offensive the way he said it. And he didn't even come to my gigs to begin with. It's not like he was supporting my gigs or actively learning the types of tunes he knew I liked. So you want to get a leg in the door with me, tell me you like Herbie Hancock or something.
Right. Well, that's the hang part of it.
Yeah.
That's absolutely. The other thing I was going to say, did you ever do like a weekly gig, like where it occurred every week? You have like a residency. You ever have some other musician that you know locally come in and try to poach your gig? You ever have that happen? Like I've had that happen a couple of times where like I was running a jam session, you know, and I was doing a week. This was going back a few years, but and this other guy came in and I saw what he was doing. He came in and like he sat in and did his thing, and then immediately went over to the guy who owned the place or the guy who books for the place. This was a residency for me that I built this up for like maybe 2 years. We had a great scene there. Every week there'd be, you know, plenty of people coming in and drinking at the bar and eating and then sitting in. And it got to the point where we had a list of like maybe 30 musicians that we'd have to get through, which is, you know, for a jam session in a local community, that's a pretty good turnout. And because the hang was fun and you get to see each other and the importance of just being part of a community. And then when he sat in, he went over to that guy who was booking and just started talking about like, I can do this stuff too. I do this and I do this. And then afterwards, like the guy was like, hey man, do you know that guy? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, he's trying to, you know, just so you know, he's trying to like, he's trying to get this gig.
Like the same night? Like he was trying to take your spot?
I mean, he wasn't trying to remove me that night but like in the future, he was like, he was telling the booker, like, I can do this better than that guy and whatever he was. I don't know. It's just funny.
I've heard of that. I don't know if that's happened to me specifically. For all I know, I could have done something similar. Like I've definitely played a gig with a group before at a venue and been like, "Oh, I should talk to the manager and see if I can book a date down the line."
No. He was directly saying he wanted this weekly session that I did that my name was on.
That hasn't happened to me.
That's fun. Yeah. Whatever. It just like I was thinking about that. Like that's probably not your best way to ingratiate yourself to part of a scene, but there are people who do it.
Oh yeah,
there are people who do it.
Yeah.
He wanted my $75 gig.
That bastard.
That's how rough it is out here. You know, it's like, so if you're not serious about what you do, if you are serious about what you do, that's what's waiting for you. So if you're not serious about what you do, it's going to be a rough ride.
Yeah. Like I said, though, I saw a lot of people who were doing stuff like that, who were trying to get gigs, but weren't trying to forge their own path. Like they would expect me to put them on a gig, and I ain't shit. I'm the music scene in Albany.
Funky ginger, you know?
Well, I'm just like there's only so much I can do for even though they're my peers. It's like
everybody knows it's hard.
I don't see a lot of people, like the people who talk about it like it's that hard aren't even doing it. Like,
yeah.
I had a lot of musicians who like wanted to get booked but then wouldn't act professional. I had another drummer friend of mine back when I had a residency a couple of years ago, and I gave him the chance to play on something because I liked his drumming, but he just wasn't always super professional, and he clearly didn't listen to the tunes, and I just like, you know, I had a fun time playing. He sounded good on the gig. It's not like my like number one stylistically, but it was like that left a sore spot. And then a while after that, when I gave him another chance on the gig, he like double booked himself like for like half the gig, and I shouldn't have let him do it, but I let him like book another drummer for the first half of the gig who wasn't a good drummer. And that was like I can't.
Yeah, that's rough.
That made it really hard to trust him for a while.
I've had that.
Gig. Like
I've had someone send a sub at the last minute that I like never played with before. I mean, that happens. You know, it's hopefully it's a good sub, but it's hard.
Wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah. That also leads me to another. I wouldn't even call this a pet peeve. This is just something in life, like being prepared.
Yeah.
Being prepared. If you don't have that nervous feeling of constantly working on something until you feel like it's ready, or you put all your available time into it, if that's not the way you're approaching it, if there's something more important that that you want to do than work on whatever's coming up for that gig, then you should do the other thing and stop doing gigs. Like that, there's just there aren't a lot of second chances. It sounds like you gave this young man a second chance.
We're cool now, but it's like it
doesn't happen a lot though. I mean, usually you get the one chance to.
He's definitely not like top of my list.
Yeah.
For calls on my gigs. But
what's his name? No, but it's the whole like I've never booked somebody that was like that. Like you just know when someone's, usually when you meet people and they're great musicians, they're gonna. I don't think I've never missed a call on that. Like everybody I've hired, you just hire them, you hear them play, and you're like, yeah, this person can play, and here's the tunes, and they're gonna show up. I would, if that happened and someone showed up unprepared, like that's it. There's no like that. If you show up unprepared, you're showing that that's what you feel is good enough. And who wants to play music like that?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm just specifically speaking to music, but anything.
Yeah, anything. Sure. At this point, like over the years, I just tried to be more and more over prepared. Like I'll play wedding gigs and I'll have an extra microphone, an XLR, extension cables, all this extra stuff in my car in case someone else needs it.
I do that too. Yeah, I do that too.
I don't need to deal with someone else forgetting their stuff. I had a drummer on a gig recently. One of my gigs forget his snare stand.
I've seen that. That you know what? That happens. Like it's like
it happens. Yeah. But
especially as guys get older and you get it. Like I know guys who have kids and the car broke down and the wife and then all of those things. And if all they forgot was the snare stand, they'll figure it out though. But yeah, I've seen that or anything like you'd be surprised at how many 50 Cent silly things can muck up a whole just totally gum up all the works, and like it's amazing. But sometimes there's accents, but being prepared and knowing the music is I have patch cords in my guitar case, 3, and I always have 2 in the car, and I only need 1, but it's like I always have this fear. Do you have the fear of showing up to the gig without your bass? Yeah, right.
Like all the time. Whenever I'm like going to leave, I'm just like looking in the back of the car nervously. Like
I unzip the bag and make sure the right guitar is in there, even though I just checked it like 5 minutes before I loaded it into the car. Like I still unzip and look, make sure sets a string, like whatever.
Wait, we're talking about guitars?
Yeah, yeah. Make sure I have everything for the gig.
Out of an abundance of caution.
Yeah. But being unprepared, it's really a cardinal sin. Like when it comes to the music, like you can't be like you will. And I think the news in that, to anybody who thinks that they're unprepared, but it doesn't look like it, it does. And it sounds like it. It really does. Like it's, I don't understand. I can't get my head around how you do that about something you're saying you love and care about.
Yeah,
because you just don't care, and that's abundantly clear.
And you're gonna lose gigs quick if you mess up one. If you kill it on like almost an entire set, and then just like mess up one song totally, on when the rest of the band is tight, you're gonna stick out like a sore thumb. Like,
that's true. Sometimes momentary lapses happen and that kind of thing.
Oh, there's reasonable mistakes, but I mean, if you like didn't know something that's like you didn't know part of a tune and it just throws everything off. It's like
right, especially if you have time.
Yeah,
especially if you have time.
And I'm sure I've done it, but like.
Yeah, like I said, momentary lapse happen. I mean, we've all had that experience where you space or something. But there's if the mindset of, you know what, this is good enough. That's a terrible mindset. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. And it's never. There's nothing good is coming from that.
Yeah.
Some people act aloof, but when it comes time to play, yeah, the evidence, the proof is in the pudding on that part. It's like either you did your work or you didn't. But I don't understand not. And then the other thing that ties in with that is when you're not prepared and then you blame other people.
Oh, yeah. My God, yeah.
Yeah, I'm the opposite of that, meaning if something bad happens and I'm the leader or if I'm the side guy in the gig, it's still my fault. That's just how I look at it. And it's my fault because I hired a person who's not doing their job. So it comes back to me and that's on me. I see this I see it often where like someone's performance is, there's a difference between making a mistake on a complex piece of music or something and just physically being unprepared. There's a huge difference, because great musicians make mistakes all the time. You just don't know it, right? I mean, you just like it happens. Like there's you're constantly correcting for things. Like it's part of it.
I make mistakes all the time. I'm just good at hiding them.
Yeah, and your parents thought the same thing when they made you. But you're
Matt, can we take a quick break?
Just speaking of mistakes, I'm just saying it's like you're a glowing mistake. It happens. So no, all I'm saying, sorry. I'm sorry to you. What's
My
your
dad is gonna be so mad at you.
But he's gonna be mad because he knows it's true, and it's his fault. No, but like I've seen this, and it absolutely inside infuriates me. Like I've seen it where people are like, if I'm working with people in an ensemble situation, and like I hear something that needs some work, and so for lack of a better word, I'm coaching at that point. I mean I'm instructing the ensemble, but it's so here's some things that you in particular could work on in this section. Like if you don't know the chord changes, I know. You know what I mean? Like yeah. I know the music, and if I don't know the music, I will make myself familiar with it. But for the most part, in all these different ensembles I run, I know the tunes that we're doing. Especially, I'm just saying, like if I do a pop ensemble, there might be some artists I'm not at all familiar with that they choose that they want to do, and I'll check that out. So I make sure when I'm coming in that if I'm that I hear and to make sure that what you're doing sounds like what you're trying to do. And if you're not nailing that, I will give you some feedback. And then if you come back a week later and you're still making the same mistakes in the same area, I will try again differently. If you come back and you're still doing that, I will ask you if I will find a way to communicate with you until I realize that you're comprehending what I'm saying. Because there are multiple ways of conveying information to people. You know, some people, you can just tell them directly. Other people, you kind of have to find a way to communicate what it is you're trying to say, and also be aware of feelings and emotions. And it can, you know, being you're exposed at that point, and you feel like whatever. And that's another thing I've noticed, that what would be typical feedback, what I would think of as really good information, other people feel that you drew attention to them, therefore you're being mean, or you're being, and in reality, I'm being supportive. I'm not trying to quote unquote call you out. I'm trying to just make you aware of, you need to assess this and work at this. And if you come back the third time, it's going to become abundantly clear that you just don't care. And I know the difference between somebody who's working on something and is not getting it yet. I'll support you through everything to get you over that, get you to what it is you're trying to do. But if you just don't care, and then at the end of that semester, you don't have a great performance, and you blame somebody else, I mean, that, like that, I see this, and I don't understand it, because the point of what you're doing is the performance. Afterward, blaming somebody for not doing your part, I don't even know what the equivalent of that is, but it's not doing anything except maybe taking yourself off the hook for what you're responsible for, which is not at all what you want to do.
Well, to yourself, but then you look even worse for when it comes to like getting work and getting respected.
Yeah. If you blame other people for your shortcomings, nobody will like you.
Yep.
It's pretty simple. Like if you're thinking it to yourself, you can think it. If you want to call somebody out for mistakes you're making, that's a problem.
Well, and I'll see people who like they like a pop gig where we're playing this high energy, happy music. I'll see people who I've seen make similar mistakes, look at someone else make a little mistake, and they'll like put on a bad face. Like they'll be like looking at me, and I'm just trying to look like a performer,
right? Not
judge someone else in the band who's doing something that you've done before too. Like seeing stuff like that, like live in the moment on the gig, it's like it takes me out of the music. It highlights So like if you're acting that way, it's gonna highlight your worst moments too.
Yeah.
So you should always have grace about it, and also like you said, like show that you're trying to get past it. Because
if you mess up, then like, that was my motivation to go home and work at what it is. Like, you know, you assess what you're doing, and if there's certain things that you are unable to do, then go home and work on those things and come back and do them, try again. So I'm not saying don't be afraid to make mistakes, but there's a difference between, well, you do weddings, so you have to have that material together, and it's clear who doesn't care. You know, it's just clear, and those people won't do the gig again. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying don't make mistakes. I'm just saying you have to care more about what it is you're trying to do than anything else in life. You have to, like, that has to be a motivating factor. Like, you wake up in the morning and you want to get better. You're eating lunch, you want to get better. If it's not, and you're waiting for somebody else to give you something, it's never ever going to happen. I mean, at least in my experience.
Yeah. It's like you said, at the end of the day, you just have to be prepared. Like, you have a fallback plan when things aren't going well. Like,
I'm not even talking about that, but yeah.
Like, well, that's like you have to have everything accounted for in the music. Like, you have to be.
There is no fallback plan for not knowing the bridge.
Yeah.
They're just, unless you got good ears. I've had that happen. Like, a tune gets called that you don't know, and you just I'm not talking about that.
Can't account for.
No.
But I mean, like, I have dreams where I'm like doing, like, I'm about to do a gig and I don't know the music, or like I used to do musicals in high school, and I'll have a dream that I'm in a musical and I don't know any of my lines. I'm like terrified or something.
I have that dream. Everybody's had that dream, probably. Yeah, but that shows you care.
Yeah,
you know that's
Well, it's like the checking for your equipment before you leave kind of thing. It's just like that paranoia of.
It's also neurosis. It's also.
Oh yeah, I'm a little crazy too.
For me anyway. But yeah, I do. It's because usually I'm packing the car and I got 100-mile journey in front of me, and I can't get 40 miles in and be like, oh, and then turn around. Yeah, it's just not good. It doesn't work that way. So I mean, short of having, I certainly, if I know I'm gonna be in a parking garage or somewhere where my equipment is relatively safe, I'll bring 2 amps. That's just because I play old amps. That's my own fault. You know, I should get a new modern amp, but you know, there's just certain things I get out of these amps that I love, but sometimes they're old. They're 50 years old, so you don't know. So yeah, I've brought 2 amps.
I bring 2 basses a lot, and you rarely need that. I did break a bass string a couple months ago. Which rarely happens.
Rarely, but now
But I had strings in the car. I bring strings from now. It's like, you just got to have everything planned.
I broke a string. I do this Steely Dan thing, and I broke a string on the first note of the guitar solo on Kid Charlemagne, which is like everybody wants to hear that solo. So I play Larry Carlton solo. I didn't know what to do. I broke the high E string, and it's in 80% of that solo. And not to mention, the other strings immediately go out of tune. Yeah. So you do the best you can, which was I just abandoned the solo, and I only had the one guitar on stage, so there's nothing I can do. And it wasn't great, but it's just nothing I can do. But the other guy, Jesse Gress, who plays guitar in that band, he has a synth, like some kind of synth module that he uses with one guitar, and then he has his regular Fender Stratocaster. And I've seen him several times. He breaks a string, he actually reset the band once. I forget which tune it was, but he's like, hold on, keep vamping, and just grabbed the other guitar and then started the whole thing over again. It was great. Yeah. I didn't have that option because I can't change a string in 14 seconds.
Yeah.
You can't vamp on the C7 on Kid Charlemagne for like 3.5 minutes and then, change the string, whatever. It's a nightmare. But yeah, you've had that happen.
Yeah. Well, when it happened to me, it was, we were playing a wedding and we were playing, Back in Stride Again by Frankie Beverly and Maze.
I don't think so. Maybe I do.
Great. Well, like there's a little intro and then it kicks into this main groove. It's like the same bass line for most of the song. And first note of like the main bass line, like as soon as the groove kicks in, just immediately broke. And we played like that song's pretty repetitive, so I could do it with the missing string. It was like the D string.
I was gonna say, also with the bass, it's a hardtail, right? So like if you break a string, do the other strings still stay relatively in tune?
Relatively. Yeah. It's easier than guitar, but it's still.
Well, I have a floating bridge on that. It's a tremolo system. So like one string. When you lose 1/6 of the pull on the bridge, everything, it's horrible. Yeah. So you also, like on a bass line, you might be able to quickly adapt and do it on a different string.
Yeah, no, that's what I did.
Yeah, and you could kind of get away. But with Kid Charlemagne, like one of those solos with all the bending and all of that, like it's like those are worked out. The fingering's worked out. Like I've been playing that solo for years, so that's a hard one.
Yeah, I can improvise with a missing string, but to play like a worked out thing like that, no way.
Yeah, but short of that, you do the best you can.
Yeah, there was like 2 easy songs after that, pretty repetitive, simple songs, and then we have this like really great arrangement of "I Feel for You" by Chaka Khan that we do, and he called that, and I was like, "Stop, set break! I need to go to the car."
Yeah.
That gig reminds me though. I mean, I did want to ask if there's any other like things you see people do that really annoy you, because like one thing I saw on that gig,
on your gig,
it was, so we're playing a wedding, and one of the guys in the gig, who was a sub with us, he was Instagram living and performing to his phone when we're supposed to be performing for the wedding crowd, like. Yeah. Don't do that.
Well, that's the thing about for the wedding. You're hired
for them.
Yeah. So you got to make sure that the people who are supposed to be smiling are smiling. Yeah, that's the thing when you're doing those gigs. If you hate doing weddings, and it shows, you probably shouldn't be doing them then. I guess just going with etiquette, showing up and your tuxedo is pressed, that it looks like you dry cleaned it within this millennia, that kind of thing. That there's not brown stains on the collar.
I don't know if I'm keeping with that.
Yeah, I haven't. My dry cleaning bill is down a lot. Because this last 2 years I do a lot with a couple of things in the city. And it's always tuxedo or black suit. So it's just, when you're in that groove, it's easy. But now it's like, I'm not like, I got to go out of my way to go to the dry cleaner, but it's not, you want to look nice. You want to, if you're doing those kinds of gigs, because people at the wedding party aren't there to buy your EP. They're there to dance and party and celebrate. So that's what you're there for. And that's what we were talking about earlier about commodifying do you want to make a living? Then you gotta do those things, and in that just as important, in the important categories, one is being prepared, and number 2 should be being prepared, right? And then number 3 should be number 1 and 2, and then being prepared also means looking and smelling somewhat reasonable, and not Instagramming live, like whatever it is that
especially for a wedding.
For a wedding, yeah. What do you do?
Like some cases I can see that, but especially for a wedding, like.
I have a story that the opposite was true. They
were staring too hard at the crowd.
No, that wasn't happening. I had in the 90s. I auditioned for Saturday Night Live, right? And that was an amazing experience. I think it was like 1997. If I'm correct. And I was living in the city and got this opportunity. And I remember they just made it like sort of a public thing where Lenny Pickett was, I don't know where, some friends of mine were auditioning, and I was like, hey man, like, come on, give me some information here. Let me, So anyway, I auditioned, and the first part of the audition was really relaxed. You went and you went to Lenny Pickett's office, you played a couple tunes with him, and he's just quite a lovely human being, and was very, very warm and cordial. And then from that, he picked, I think, 10 or 11 people. And we came back a few weeks later and did a screen test. Like they film you on stage. I remember it was at the Conan O'Brien Studios at 30 Rock, and it was amazing. Like, I'd never been to 30 Rock, and I've never seen the inside of a TV studio. Like, it was incredible. But I remember getting ready for that. My then girlfriend, now wife, we went shopping and bought a new suit, a new vest, and some I felt, I mean, who knows? I might have looked like an idiot. I have no idea. But we went, I think we went to Filene's or Macy's, one of those places. It was off the rack. But it was a nice, I don't remember what brand, but whatever. It was a nice suit, nice vest, new shirt, shoes. I just wanted to look what I thought was like, we kind of went with you're going to be on TV, so this is the look. I don't know. We went best. There was 11 of us there, I think, 10 or 11, and we all did this. It was clear when you walked in, like you could still smell the new material on the shoes, and they're short of having tags sticking out. Everybody was dressed real nice. And then there was this one guy, we kind of were all like looking, and he was in a wife beater, like a white wife beater, and some like Adidas workout pants, and probably a pair of Adidas. I don't know if he matched, but we were all like, what is this? Like we're all in, and we just kind of were like, I don't know, whatever. So one by one we went in and did the screen test. He was a great guitarist. Like, so when we all heard him play, we're like, oh man, but who comes to 30 Rock dressed in like that? And he got the gig. It was Lukash, who's now known as Dr.
Really?
Luke. Yeah, that was the guy who got the gig. Yeah, I mean, he was a handsome dude. Looked like, I remember looking at him, I remember thinking, this dude looks like Luke Perry. You know, at the time, Luke Perry was, I mean, he just passed away, but then that was like the Beverly Hills 90210, like all that. But there was a perfect example of a guy who kind of dressed aloof, like kind of like it's in the bag. I'm getting like I don't know what his thoughts were. He played great, you know. But I was like, I looked at him, and when he came out of the audition, when he got done, I'm like, maybe I'm overdressed, you know. like he played wonderfully, and I don't know him from a hole in the wall. But in fact, it was Sean McLowry who told me who Dr. Luke was after I think I told him that story.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was a guy who was definitely not didn't do what the rest of us did, you know, and got the gig, and great player, but looked like he didn't care.
Look is one thing.
Yeah,
I mean, as long as you're not like doing that at like a wedding or something.
No, he played played great.
But like smell is another thing though.
Smell's another thing.
Smell's tough.
You don't want to be the smelly guy at the gig. Yeah. In your defense, you smell lovely.
Oh, I wasn't expecting
which is surprising when you know. But usually it's like older dudes who smell.
Yeah.
Like I don't really meet a lot of 20-year-olds on the gig who like kind of have like a rank BO.
Well, you've never played in a punk band.
That is true. Yeah,
I have.
Have you? You've been around some stank.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I used to play in punk stuff. I've been back into listening to some punk lately too. Dead Kennedy, so good.
My wife loves that stuff.
So good. But yeah, man. I don't know. I mean, I feel like we went over some good no-nos for the gigs.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've enlightened some people on how to approach professionalism with an abundance of caution.
Yep. And an abundance of preparedness.
I don't know. Did you have any other good stories or good examples of?
I'm sure there's somewhere in there, but I'm good for today. You know.
Yeah, I think that was a good little talk about this stuff. You know, like we said, if you haven't checked it out already, check out our interview with Mike Clark. By the time this airs, our episode with our amazing producer Pat Flores will be out, and he's hilarious. And
that was hilarious. We had some good stories there. That was a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
I haven't laughed that hard in quite some time. Although the Mike interview was also, we laughed a lot too. The Mike Clark interview.
Yeah,
but hanging out with Pat is that's always fun and always special, and we laughed a lot.
Yeah, that's not even like as much of an interview as just a good hang.
It was a great hang.
It was with Mike, but that's Mike is probably my. I think that was like my favorite interview so far, but the hang with Pat.
Shout out to all the previous interviews.
Oh yeah, I mean we've just everyone so far. We've been really lucky. We appreciate all you. Yeah. Like the video, like our Facebook, follow our Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube.
MinkandTheMonk.com.
I hate to keep asking, but we do really appreciate it because it helps us, and we want to keep making better content. We're getting there. We got a lot of stuff planned for 2022.
Share it with somebody you like, and share it with two people that you hate. I mean, either way, it's a good thing for us. So absolutely.
Yeah. So do I get to meet your wife yet? Or
nope.
No.
Maybe
she bought us a little fridge for in here.
She bought us. She did.
Did it say to Matt and Brad?
No.
But it's in.
No. That fridge might be too good for you.
So, did she just get me something separate?
Yeah, it's in the mail.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's so sweet of her.
Yeah.
I look forward to it.
Yeah.
To seeing it.
Yeah, me too.
We gonna get your cat in here sometime? Is your cat gonna come hang out?
She's kind of shy, but we have the mug.
You don't want to show your big black hairy on the...
She's beautiful.
Can you show one of the other pictures before we go too? Can I grab that one?
Sure. You can grab any of them. Yeah.
I can grab your...
Hey, Jesus.
Oh my God.
My wife had that made for me.
Hang this up.
She had that made for me last year for Christmas. And then the other one over there, wait, that was 2 years ago. That one was 2 years ago. And then that one was last year. I love my cat.
I know.
Yeah, I literally have thousands of photos of her on the camera.
Didn't know that.
I just, if she's sleeping, I find it adorable, and I just snap 400 or 500 shots, regularly. And then if she's doing something really extra adorable, I portrait mode on the phone is pretty wonderful.
Do you ever do that with me?
Never.
Oh.
No, but I think I have to change the aperture to not let so much bright reflection come in, or else it just gets really sparkly. Your dad is going to hate me today.
At least he's not a ginger.
Shout out to my father, Ronnie Fink.
Looks so badass there.
And my mother, Susan Fink, doing the... for those of you trying to hack into my parents' name. Yeah.
You didn't go maiden name.
Yeah, I didn't. Yep, we're good. Yep.
Well, nice back scratcher, by the way.
Yeah, I just got that. Look at it. Look at the length. I could scratch your back from here.
That was alpha. That was alpha as hell.
Yeah, man.
Have we covered everything? Have we covered all the unnecessary things we need to end this episode with?
Shout out to Britt Baker for the beautiful, that could be anything, pottery that I went and picked up from him just prior to Christmas. So now we have a nice accoutrement on the table.
Yeah, we could maybe cut up some carrots, some celery, hummus on it.
Sure.
We could light some incense.
Shout out to that. I think it's the Stone Window Gallery on Main Street in Accord. Yeah, it's a very lovely piece.
Yeah. Yep. New tablecloth.
New table. It's how we roll. New year.
Wow. So professional. Yeah, we've kept this going longer than we needed to. Yes. But I think we've covered all the bases of what this
for
new year
those of
is
you that stuck around
like.
To the end. Mom, thank you.
Mrs. F. Love your paintings. So has she been talking about me or
not yet?
All right.
All right. We good?
Yeah, we're good.
All right. See you next week.
Yep.